Welcome to the podcast, Badass Mother Hustler, where the grit, stress, and the beauty of motherhood and entrepreneurship meet. We'll share the realities and stories of what it takes to make it all work and still be a badass mother. Now here's your host, Maddie Yaka.
Hey everyone, welcome back. Today I'm chatting with badass mother hustler Sophie Shay. She's a mom of 2 kids and the owner of Chez Shay Designs. Welcome.
Thanks, Maddie. I'm so glad to be here.
Thanks for coming on. How are you today?
I'm good. So I'm based in Toronto, Canada, and it's August now, and it's starting to get a bit chilly. I don't know if it's like that where you are, Maddie.
Okay, that is so funny that it's starting to get chilly because it's been like almost 90. We've had crazy heat waves. I'm in
Oh my gosh.
Pennsylvania, like 40 minutes outside of Philadelphia. And today I was like, oh, it's like a little fall vibe. Let me wear my capri.
Already, yeah. I was like, where's August? It's still supposed to be summer, so yeah.
The weather's crazy. I feel like we skipped spring. It was like winter
Yes.
and then straight to super hot. And we've had nothing but heat waves. And now it's like on the way to fall.
Yes, exactly. Same here.
Crazy. So can you tell everyone a little bit about yourself and your family and what your hobbies are?
Yeah, totally. So my name's Sophie. Nice to meet you, everyone. I'm a mom of 2. I have a 6-year-old daughter and a 2-year-old son. And our little family, we live in Toronto, Canada. We love to just take it slow. Like the summer's been really low key for us. We've just been enjoying each other's company. My daughter just started learning to bike, so now I'm kind of overcoming my fear of biking and taking her lead. She's like, "Mommy, I'm just going to teach you how to do it." So she's teaching me tricks. So I'm kind of like having my own, childhood summer here and following her lead and just exploring the world again with through her eyes. So yeah, it's been really nice.
It is so cool to explore the world through little kids' eyes. It's really funny to see like you're trying to do something with them and then it just takes longer because they notice things that you never notice. They stop.
Yes, yes. And like, yeah, and then I remind myself, it's like, what's the point of rushing? Like, this is it. This is what it's all about. So anyway, it's like a work in progress for me.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's a work in progress for me too. This summer, I'm like really trying to slow down because my daughter's going to be in kindergarten. And I'm like, where did the 5 years go?
That's a big transition.
Yeah. So does entrepreneurship run in your family?
So my dad has always been an entrepreneur, his whole life. And it's ironic because growing up, I kind of watched him do his thing. And then he would get so stressed about all the ups and downs of entrepreneurship. And I'm like, growing up, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm never going to be an entrepreneur. Like that just sounds so stressful. And so I went to school, I got a corporate job, I did the whole like stable thing, like to not do the entrepreneurship thing. And then somehow entrepreneurship found me. So now I have left the corporate world behind me and I'm a business owner. And I just celebrated 1 year with my business last week, which it's like your other baby, right? Like, so it's like, it's been my 1 year anniversary with the business, which is so surreal.
The first year is just so crazy. It flies
Mhm.
by. It's there in the blink of an eye, but the celebration is so much fun. Did your business do anything fun for the 1 year or did you
Oh
do
my gosh,
anything?
I've been overthinking it. I was like trying to figure out what I should be doing. I don't know if you have any ideas after the podcast, like let me know, but I'm still thinking about it. My dog just passed away last week at the same time. So it's kind of like our whole family's kind of been
Yeah.
preoccupied with that situation. So, but we're coming through to the other end and it's time to kind of like do it justice and do something meaningful and special for the business because it is kind of a big deal to cross the finish line for your first year. So,
You are on social media a lot. Have you ever thought, because my sister and I, each year, we buy one of those foil balloons from Amazon, like
oh
for the
yeah, yeah,
number
yeah,
year it is, and
yeah.
we blow it up and we take a picture with it, or we do a little reel to let everyone know, like, oh my God, this is
I
year number
know. I should just do
whatever.
that. Yeah, 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 yeah. I'm overthinking it. So that's a great idea. Yeah, I love it.
Yeah. Now, did you ever help with your father's business growing up? What was it?
He just like did all sorts of different things. He's like a serial entrepreneur. So I don't even know. Like just growing up, it was just he was on this thing, this project, and then he was on an, his next venture. So it was kind of like jumping all over the place. So I couldn't really tell you. But yeah, I didn't help him directly in his businesses, but I just kind of saw um, how it's really you can kind of like shape the business to whatever it is that's in your vision. So like I kind of like saw that and like um, learned that through osmosis, but I've never like really directly worked with him or got involved with anything.
Yeah, I was just wondering because my parents had a mulch business and I was the oldest. So when I wasn't playing sports, they were like, you need to be down at the yard working the
Oh,
window, or
gotcha.
you
Yeah, yeah,
need to be
yeah.
answering the phone. And
Right,
then
right, right. That's actually
I,
great. Like just to get your feet wet.
you really learn how to work with people.
Totally, totally. Yeah, I miss that. I miss that.
Yeah, but I was never like, oh, I want to be an entrepreneur because
Right,
I
exactly, it's
then
kinda like the opposite effect, exactly, you're like, "Okay, I see this, like, too up and close." So, I kind of, like, had the opposite reaction as well, I'm like, "Okay, I'm gonna do something else." Not the same thing there.
but I love what you said. You said that entrepreneurship found you, and that's, like, what happened to me
Yeah.
too. So tell me, like,
Okay.
how did it find you?
Yeah, so I spent over 10 years in the corporate world, and I just thought, like, "Oh, this is just what I do." And when I was on my second mat leave, like, leading up to it, like, I was getting really burnt out, in the corporate job that I had, and I was looking for something new. I was looking for a change, and I thought, like, "Okay, I'll just apply to a different job after my mat leave ends." But my husband always has said, Sophie, you need to do your own thing. Like, you need to start something, you need to do your own thing. I'm like, okay, sure, but like, what's the thing though? Right? Just because, like, okay, you see that in me, but like, I don't know, I don't have a business idea.
You're like, "Hit me
Um,
with some
yeah,
ideas,
can
come
you give me
on."
some ideas? Exactly. And also, I was like on mat leave. So, like, I was taking care of a newborn and it just like didn't have time to think. I couldn't even hear myself think. So I'm like, okay, you know what? Like after I'm done mat leave, I'll take a little break and we'll send our son to part-time daycare. And then I'll kind of like, okay, sit with like, take a step back and reflect on what it is I want to do. Do I want to, find a new corporate job, or do I want to like toy with this idea of starting something on my own? And I still had no idea. I was like completely open, like 50-50. It could go either way. And then the first day my son goes to part time daycare, I could hear myself think, and the idea came to me. And I kind of just like, it just clicked, and I'm like, I just kind of ran with it, which is probably a good thing because if I sat a moment longer to overthink it, I probably wouldn't have done it, right? And so I'm like, oh yeah, like with my eldest, I discovered Montessori, which is kind of like the basis of how I do my business, which is in kids space designs. It's not just pretty spaces, it's based on child development and Montessori principles. So I'm really designing with the kids in mind and how they use the space at home. And
When you
that was
e
some.
when you sorry, when you email me, I was like, "This is a really cool idea."
Oh,
And I
thank
just wanted
you.
to share it with everyone, like,
That's
not
awesome.
only decorate a kid's room, but, like, do it so that they can use it too.
They can use it, and it's actually a win-win once you understand what goes behind it, right? Because if they can do more, they feel good about being able to do more. Guess what? The grown-ups, you don't have to do as much, as well, right? Like it's kind of you are investing a little bit in their experimentation and learning and all that sort of stuff, but in the long haul, you're going to set everyone up for success because you're thinking of their independence and their learning and development through the space design. So anyway, so I just fell into the Montessori rabbit hole when I had my eldest, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like what is this? Because before I had kids, I just had no idea. I thought like kids, chaos, like just went hand in hand. And then I discovered this, and I tried to like, implement some of those principles in our old home. And my daughter, who was like a toddler, she was getting her own snacks, getting her own water, her own arts and crafts like supplies. She was grabbing cleaning supplies to like wipe down spills. I'm like, oh my gosh, there's something there. Like it's kind of magical. And I didn't think about it again when I went back to work. And then like once I sat with myself, my son was in part-time daycare. I'm like, oh wait, would families pay me to do this? Because that would be kind of awesome. And I feel so passionate about it because it's like I'm solving real problems. I'm making life that much more enjoyable, and I'm impacting the kids and the families in such a positive way. So I'm like, would they? And then I just like, okay, I'm just gonna like start building it. So yeah, that's kind of like where it started. It was just like something that I was curious and passionate about, and just deciding to go for it as the business idea that I was going to pursue. So
How do you build out that business idea? Did you just like Google a bunch of Montessori stuff, and like, did you go to places that set up bedrooms? Like, it's wild to me,
okay.
your business.
That's hilarious. Yeah. You're like, wait, what? How does that even work? So with Montessori, there's like Montessori at home principles as well. Like we're not trying to replicate the classroom, but there's so many great ways for the home to be set up so that the kids can gain independence, they feel seen and heard, and we're involving them in everyday life as a total family. So it's a little bit of a mindset thing, but it's also like very tangible in terms of the environment and home setup. And so for me, I'm like, okay, I've experimented with it and I've seen it work. So like I know there's like a basis for it, and it's like a great framework to apply to a home design kind of standpoint. So I just kind of doubled down on reading more of the research, just so I felt like I knew what I was talking about when I'm talking to clients. And then I went to school for interior design just to kind of like refine my eye for design. Like I've always been interested in design, but then like going through the program, I'm like, oh, okay, that's why that would, make so much more sense, would look so much nicer together. Like it was really fun to go through the program, and I could like, I felt like I was upskilling myself at the same time. And then I kind of just like merged the two, and the way that I build my my brand, and the way I talk about my business, whether it's social media or the website, it's always with the with the basis of like, this is like, there's always a rationale. It's like, this is because, for example, like why would we put a low hanging mirror in a toddler's room? It's because if you want to encourage them to do independent dressing, they need to know where their body parts are. They need to have body like anatomy awareness. So like those things are just so fascinating to me, and I love sharing that with people. And then people are like, wait, what? I've never even thought of that. And like that, like me opening people's minds and sharing that knowledge is so satisfying. And whether they become a client or not, like it's just some might kind of like take what they need and they can implement some of those things, and it helps them in their homes. Others are like, you know what, you sound like you know what you're doing, and I like how you design spaces, so like please can you just help me with our home, like, and they become a client. So either way, I feel like it's like a positive kind of energy exchange. So that part's been really cool. I kind of just like made up my own business model as to like what I would and wouldn't do. There's like so many kind of conversations I have in my head about like, what is it that I stand for and what is it that I do not stand for? And that's kind of the part, like the beauty of being a business owner, because you get to decide that, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
It's really neat that you brought up the mirror thing, because most people are like, okay, well, a mirror gets hung above a
Yeah,
dresser or
right.
whatever. So
Yeah.
like, what are some other things like that you would put in a child's room that's different from
Yeah.
like a normal room?
Yeah, for sure. Like if you go on Pinterest, you'll see a lot of those book ledges, those are quite popular now, which is great, but they're kind of hung up high in in those typical Pinterest images, because it's with the assumption that it's the grown-up who's going to get the book and read it at bedtime in the rocker, right?
Mm-hmm.
But, if you want to encourage that love of learning, that curiosity, and, having your kid just like casually pick up a book and flip through some pages, like that is going to be hard for them to get to by themselves, right? Like, so, okay, rethinking that, what would that mean? It would be open and low accessible. It could be a bookshelf, it could be a book ledge, whatever it is.
So
It
are
needs to be
you
low and
just
accessible for them.
constantly thinking in
I'm
like the short person, like a little kid point of
Yeah.
view?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, for 0 to 6, it's definitely like that. It's very different, right? Because we're designing for, like, exactly like you said, like the little short people in our family. But once you get to like 6 to 12, they can pretty much like access the whole home as you and I would. Their needs start to change, and that's where Montessori kind of plays like a guiding role in like what that would look like. For that age group, kids start responding less to beauty and order on the outside, because they're trying to like sort things mentally. Like, they're learning so much, like so many concepts, they're sorting things mentally. So it's all here, like it's all like, okay, they're structuring, they're organizing things here, and on the outside it's like they don't have energy for that anymore. So it's like it's very messy outwardly during this phase. So that's also fascinating to me, because my daughter is like now in that age group. And so what do you do as a family, like knowing that this is a phase that they're going through, and how do you support them? Like, so for this age, I work with families on creating organization and storage systems that are like really easy and intuitive, not creating new rules, but like creating systems that are following the kids' natural tendencies. And that way it becomes more sustainable to maintain. So like, these are the kinds of things that I think about all the time anyway. I'm like, okay, there's gotta be a business idea behind this, because this is all I think about. Yeah.
Now, does a family come to you and say like, "Hey, can you just do my child's bedroom however you see fit for Montessori, and my child is this age?" Or do they come to you and they're like, "The theme is a rainforest. Can you take it from there?" How does it normally
Yeah.
work?
Yeah, it's a little bit of both. I always start with a detailed questionnaire, so like, the families can reflect on their answers and provide some thoughtful inputs to it, like asking about what are the kids' interests, and all that sort of stuff, like their favorite colors. What are some development areas that you want them to work on? But then there's others where it's like, I love this kind of aesthetic, and my kid is really interested in this, and I just need someone to kind of merge the two and make it look nice. And I'm spinning my wheels, like, please help me with this. And that's part of what I do too, because kids, they have a lot of different interests, and it's not obvious what that would look like in a home. Like, it could be like a mishmash of everything. So I also help families just like make choices and roll things up in a way that's more elevated, more timeless, that will grow with the kids as well, and the parents won't get too sick of it too soon.
So I was creeping on your Instagram before this, and that's something I wrote down where you had said like it's designed to grow with them. So what are some aspects that you put in their bedroom or in the playroom or whatever that grow with them?
Yeah. So for bedrooms, usually families are reaching out to me when their kid is either turning 3. That's a very popular age where they're thinking about transitioning from crib to big kid bed, which is perfect timing to bring me in. And then the next phase is around like the tween years, which is so surprising, because these kids are like, mom and dad, you guys have put together this room for me up until this point, and it no longer reflects who I am. So I want to like make a mark and make it feel like my own space. Like, I've heard that from so many different families. And that is like so beautiful that these kids are like asserting and communicating their needs in this way. But so anyway, so for those two types of bedrooms, it's still the same thing where we want to make sure that the big pieces of furniture are the ones that will be there when they are like the teenager version of themselves, right? So I kind of help parents think into the future, like what would teenage Zach or Layla like? How would they use the space? Would you anticipate things like homework needs or a reading nook or something like that? Or like they love to collect trinkets. Like we need to have just a home for that. Like if we are like, if we have wishful thinking that it just kind of goes away, then it's going to be everywhere because it didn't have a dedicated home. So those are kind of the things that we would work on. And then we would kind of like pull it all the way back to today and design that footprint of the space with all these elements today so that, as they get older and their needs change, we've already caught it. Like it's already there and it's ready for them. And we still want to celebrate their interests. So we use decorative touches like bedding or artwork and stuff like that. Like those things are easier to change out. Those things are where we can kind of like have fun and celebrate who they are today. And maybe they're gonna be, I don't know, Minecraft lovers for 10 years, and that's great. Like you can keep it up. But if they start changing their different interests, that's okay. You can kind of easily swap that out without my help, right? For playrooms, I like to use the framework of like different zones of play so that we're mapping out, these are the different types of play that kids will still grow with the kids, right? Like gross motor skills, you don't really outgrow that. Like even when I set up like a rock wall or monkey bars or swing, like grown-ups are telling me like they want to climb that rock wall, they want to swing in that swing. It's like, okay, like clearly if you design for it, then it'll get used, it'll grow with them, especially if you have multiple kids, then it could, that life, that useful life of that playroom will even extend that much further. So so it's like these types of things, like you think that you can kind of just like wait until they get through this phase, whatever phase you're in right now, and then you don't have to like invest so much into this particular phase. But there's a way to kind of like see the longer horizon of it, because when I dig into the Montessori child development research, I can kind of like help parents to see into the future and then dial back into something that will work with their kids for like the next 5 to 10 years. So that's kind of like just how I like to work. I like to be prepared for situations, and like now my overthinking, over planning type of personality can actually be of use to other families. So yeah, I'm excited.
So much thinking and planning goes into it, it sounds like. What has been your favorite bedroom or playroom that you've done so far?
I recently did a bedroom for a 3-year-old who was moving from a crib. And what was really fun about this one was that we were doing it on a rush timing because, well, the mom was very understanding. She's like, I don't even know if we can pull this off, but it would be really cool if we can do it by this date. And I was like, oh, what's so special about this date? Is it a birthday? She's like, no. She already turned 3, but we're having her little cousin over for a sleepover. So we're going away for a family wedding, and then we're bringing that cousin back, and they're going to sleep over for a week. And it would be so cool to kind of like have it set up for that. And that would be the reveal. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm in.
Yeah.
And so, they were away while we were, doing, like I brought the team and we were kind of setting up the bedroom. And we made sure that there was a trundle, so it was like sleepover ready. And I even created a little pet care package. I was thinking like, okay, this is basically a girls spa retreat getaway type thing, but like think toddler, like 4 years old. Like what would that equivalent for a preschooler be? And I was like, okay, definitely unicorn slippers,
Yeah.
definitely some bath bombs and bubble wands. So that's kind of like what I left behind as well, just to kind of be like, hey, have a great sleepover. Welcome to your new room. So that was my favorite bedroom to do. For the playroom, I mean, I'm working on a couple playrooms that I'm really excited about. It's not like it hasn't materialized yet, so can't speak to the full experience. But I did do a playroom that was really fun. It was also kind of similar where the mom kept the project secret from her family.
Oh my
Um,
goodness.
yeah, like she
People are
like
trying to go downstairs and you're like, "Oh, sorry, it's flooded. We're like trying to fix it. You're not allowed in the basement."
yeah, and well, yeah, they still didn't know until like kind of like it was all done. But leading up to it, uh, she her basement had lots of lots of storage. Like basically, it became kind of like a storage space for the family. With the pandemic, I'm sure that's like been the case for most families. And it was time to kind of like clear out the storage, and but she couldn't tell the family like what was happening. So like, she would, like list her old coffee table on Marketplace or whatever. Like things would just like start disappearing. And then the son would be like kind of alarmed, like, oh my gosh, like something just disappeared again. And then he would tell his dad, and then the dad's like, what's happening? And then she
The
had to like
dad wasn't even
that
in
dad
on
didn't
it?
know
Oh
either.
my
Yeah, yeah,
goodness.
yeah. Yeah. She really wanted to surprise everyone. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I bet like this better be worth it. Like I need to do a good job. Otherwise, like this will kind of all kind of come apart. But yeah, that was, I don't know, like I guess like the theme of these two stories of why it was so exciting was because there was like some sort of secret reveal that was happening for the family, which is, yeah, it's just fun, right? Like it's kind of like I'm in on the secret, and I'm creating something that is, surprising and delightful for the family to enjoy later. So that part has been really fun and rewarding.
I'm totally feeling like a TLC renovation show for you where it's like a surprise.
that
That would be
would be
fun.
that would be really fun. Yeah.
Um, so what has it been like in the past year building a business with your kids?
This past year, so actually, let me rewind to the origin story of this business. Like, I built this business, um, as I said, at the end of my mat leave, and at this time as well was also my husband's. He had to go through chemo for
Mm.
6 months, um, and it was really surreal. Like everything just feels really surreal. So when I started the business, I was looking for something that would give me this feeling of control and like upward momentum, like just positive energy. Cause I just felt like, uh, okay, this is like like it really, everything's like, it just put all the perspective in place of like what's, um, important in life. And also the big aha is like, you can't just live life on hold. And that's like, a message I like to share, with families as well. Sometimes we think, um, okay, well, we can have nice things again in the home once they're out of the house, right? But that's like a long time to be waiting. Like that could be 10, even 20 years, like just depending on where you're at with the journey. Like that could be like decades. Like, do you want to kind of like live on hold for that long? Because life can be unpredictable. And so like for me, I'm like, okay, I want to I want to bring joy and I want to do something tangible, and work and create like connection, like joy and connection, um, with, I guess, like families, like strangers, but like then they become kind of like clients, and then my friends. How do I do that, right? And so yeah, like basically creating the business was kind of like my escape. Like, okay, this is what's
Yeah, so
happening in
the
my family.
business,
And
you created it when he was going through
when he
chemo
was
or
going through chemo,
afterwards? Yeah.
During, and he like, if I could say, like, he rocked the whole chemo experience. Like, he still worked full time because he wanted to. He still ran every day. Like, so he just like took it to a next level. And so we were in a position where it's like, okay, he's doing well with this treatment. And he still, like, as he was going through it, like, he continued to encourage me to start my own thing. I'm like, okay, like, I should really like take that seriously and like do it, right? Because, all the signs are still pointing towards like, hey, what do you want to do? So yeah, like, as I was building that, it was, at bedtime, at night, at nap times, like, while my son was still in part-time daycare. And then afterwards, he was in full-time daycare. I was able to kind of like focus a bit more of my day on the business. It's been cool because my daughter, for example, she can immediately relate to what I'm doing because it's related to kids, related to spaces. So like, I didn't have to explain what I do very much to her because she immediately understood what my job was. And yeah, sometimes she would vote on my designs. Like, and the other day she joined me on a client call because I was going to take her to a dentist appointment after, so she was already home. So anyway, like, so it's been pretty easy to kind of explain what I do to her. My son is too young to really know what's going on, but yeah, like, it gives me a lot more kind of flexibility with my hours. Like, I can kind of control the hours a little bit more. And yeah, yeah.
It's so funny to have our kids like be old enough that they know what's going on, and your daughter joined you on a client call. Like this morning, my daughter came on a showing with me to show a house, and
Amazing.
she has been used to like these Zoom calls since she was 10 months old. So now
Oh,
it's
right.
like right before we started recording our podcast, I had 2 Zoom calls for business, and she's like popping her head in, waving at everyone. She like loves when it's a Zoom call. I'm like, "Oh my goodness." So
That's
funny.
amazing.
So balancing motherhood and being an entrepreneur is not always smooth sailing. What do you think is stressful about managing both roles?
Yeah, so there's always that real but also self-inflicted sense of time conflict. Like, I don't know, like, sometimes, like, I'm still working on it, and like, I'm really trying to unlearn the need to always be productive. Um, and yeah, sometimes you're like, oh, I could use this time and like do this XYZ, right? And then when your kid needs you and they're asking for something, like, I catch myself getting annoyed at them. I'm like, hold on, like, why am I getting annoyed at them for this? Right? Like, what is the actual point of everything? It's to
Be with
kind
them.
of, yeah, to be with them. Like, exactly the irony, right? So, in the past I mean, like, when I was in my corporate job, I would find myself getting so stressed and like annoyed that my family was taking time away from my work. Like, isn't that so crazy to say out loud? But like, that's actually like how I felt, right?
Were you working
And
more than 40 hours a week at your
oh,
other?
yeah.
Wow.
Nights, weekends. Yeah, it was like, yeah, it was pretty like demanding, and all consuming. And I just felt like it wasn't in alignment with who I was anymore. There
So
was a time when I was kid free where I'm like, oh yes, work, 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 work. And
yep,
then I'm like,
yep.
wait, that is so unhealthy and so bad. Anyway, yeah.
With
So it's like a big part of my identity and like you know, how I operate. And I'm like, what am I actually doing? Like, this is for them, this is for me. And this can wait. It's not urgent at all. And I'm still practicing this, but just putting my phone away, I find that suddenly, I don't know, like, it's like a cue, like, I'm able to actually drop everything and be present. But if I have my phone on me and I'm checking something, I mean, in the name of productivity, but it's actually like so not urgent at
you
all.
end up down a
Um,
rabbit hole of
Down a
emails
rabbit
or
hole,
Instagram
exactly.
or
Like, and then I'm like,
something.
oh, I'm working on something, and then they interrupt me. Then I get irritated because they're interrupting me, but it's all self-inflicted, like, so anyway, that's kind of been my journey with that. I don't know if you can relate, but I feel like as an entrepreneur, it's like you set the hours, like you could be working
You could
24/7 if you wanted to.
always be
Yeah.
working, and you hit the nail on the head when you brought it up that you're like, "Oh my gosh, I'm trying to be as productive as I can." And then the first year I felt like that was me, like, "Okay, I have 20 minutes. Let me do what I can in this
Right.
time." And like, "Oh, I just put them to bed. I have an hour and a half before like I'm ready to take a shower and go to bed myself." But really, I'm like missing time with my husband in that hour and a half. And now that I'm in year 4 of my business, really this year has been the year of me not really giving a shit because I work hard, but I am
Right.
setting up the boundaries and I'm
Yes.
not getting on the computer at night, and because you only live once. I'm not wasting that time with my family.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. It's a really hard one. It's very mental. But like once you kind of see, you're like, oh yeah, like why am I doing that? And I don't know, it's a work in progress.
Yeah, it is a work in progress. So what do you think is the beauty of being an entrepreneur mom?
Yeah, it's like the flip side, right? You do get to control your day. Sorry, that's the doorbell. You do get to control your day, and what you set as your intention happens for the most part. That has been kind of like my experience. Like, you know, I have this like mental image in my head, and like kind of like a planting a seed, and then it comes to life. And so you need to make sure that you're planting the right seeds. And you're spending your time on the right things.
Is Amazon delivering a package?
I'm not sure. They're usually not that persistent
Yeah,
yeah, they just usually just drop it
that's
off.
funny. So I can't believe we've been talking for as long as we have. I could seriously talk about your business forever because it's just so interesting to me. But we're going to switch over to our rapid fire 5 and 5, where everyone gets to know a little bit more about you personally. So, what does your ideal chill day look like?
My ideal chill day yeah, I mean, I would love to be able to curl up and read a book, like just have that time where I don't have to do anything and just sink into a book. And go out for brunch. Haven't gone to brunch in a long time. Like,
Since like
what's that
before
like?
kids?
Exactly. Like, what is brunch anymore? Like, go to a leisurely, like late breakfast and maybe do some yoga or hiking. That would all be very lovely.
I love all of those ideas. Invite me along. What are you currently reading or listening to?
I'm just finishing up the book 10x is easier than 2x. It's been kind of floating around. It's pretty popular. I love it. It's yeah, I think it's spot on. And yeah, I kind of like recommend it to everyone that I come across. I am also rereading Oh Crap, potty training because my son is gonna be potty training soon. Um, yeah, so wish me luck.
That's a good one to know because that'll be my son next year.
Oh, okay, yeah, yeah.
I'm
I
like,
mean, you've
potty
done it
training
already,
a
right? So, like,
boy is different than potty training a girl.
yeah,
So maybe
yeah,
I should read that.
yeah, exactly. I'm looking for like the sections where it's like, okay, here's what you need to know about a boy. But so far, I haven't come across like any sections like that. It's just kind of like this is just for any kid. I'm like, all right.
Yeah. What's your favorite app or tool you use as an entrepreneur, a mom, or both?
I really love my client portal tool called HoneyBook. Um, it's it's like it's as if you have a full team around you because you can customize and automate a lot of stuff, but it's like very on brand, it's in your voice. So that part is really helpful. You can get a lot of good insights and data on the leads and the clients you have as they move through the funnel. And then also with my work, because I need to show different designs and I need client decisions. So like approvals or like comments, or if they want to like book a call with me to discuss further, like all those things are handled within the portal. So I'm not creating PowerPoint decks or anything, or I'm not exchanging like a bazillion emails talking about a specific thing. Like it's all contained within that, which I find super valuable. And yeah, it's super easy to use, and it has like really cute greetings too. Like if you're working late, it'll be like, "Oh, you're burning the midnight oil. Your clients are so lucky to have you." I'm like, "Thank you." It's just really cute. It's really
You're
nice to
like,
use.
"Thank you, AI. That's very
Yeah,
nice
thank you,
that you
AI.
know."
Exactly. Exactly.
Thank you for acknowledging. That's cool. I've never heard of that, and I love that it keeps everything in one place. So, I mean, you said it before I was gonna say it, so you're not digging through 1,000 emails and they get lost. I'll have to look into that. That is awesome. What's the song that you blast the shit out of if entrepreneur mom life is too much for you that day?
Oh my gosh. I feel like my brain is not made for remembering song names anymore. When I was a teenager, I knew like every song, every lyric. I just don't can't do that anymore. But do you guys have F45 where you are? Like
Yes.
the fitness studio? Yeah, like we have one in our neighborhood, and they always have the best pump up songs during the workouts. So I would probably say like the F45 playlist. Whatever they've got playing, like that's awesome.
So I don't know if anyone listening has realized that I asked this question and then the answer you give me is what I put as like, oh, my next person tomorrow. So a lot of people say Taylor Swift and I pair their podcast preview with Taylor Swift. So do
Oh,
you
okay.
like rap? Do you like, because I can't Google F45
Hey, I'm
playlist.
sorry to make your job so difficult. Okay, got it. I am digging Taylor's maybe new song. I don't even know what's new anymore. August. I just see it on
Yeah.
Instagram. Like it's a song that's playing on Instagram. That's all the music intel that I know.
Yeah. Oh, that's funny. No, I used to go to Orange Theory before the
Oh yeah.
pandemic, and I
Mhm.
loved all of their playlists
Exactly. Yeah,
too.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
It
it's like
makes you like just so pumped and you're like, "Yeah, I can totally do this."
yeah, yeah, I love it. And what is some advice that you can give a struggling entrepreneur mom? You just came out of your first year. You've been through it all. So
Mhm.
what's some advice you can give?
Oh yeah, if anyone wants to chat me up, I love talking about this and comparing notes. But if I were to say one thing, it's especially this is something I struggled with a lot, which is like showing up. Because when before you were a business owner, you're just on your personal Instagram account, you're just posting whatever. But suddenly, when you're a business owner, people want to see who you are, and that's so weird and so awkward. At least at the beginning. And for me, it took a long time to kind of like break out of that. But then once I had the mental shift, it became a lot easier. And that mental shift for me was it's not about me, it's about being in service to these people who are following me or like are out there who are looking for me. And what I'm sharing is of value to them. Just like having that mindset of like, oh, people need to know this, right? Like the mirror thing or like whatever, like all the the things that I was sharing earlier. Like so, it might be new information to some families, and they need to know about this because I'm passionate about why that's the case. Um, and so once you have that mentality of like, I'm just sharing what I know, I'm just being of service, it removes you from the equation if that was kind of like what was holding you back. Um, and then everything kind of just like flows from there. Like once you start showing up and working that muscle, um, then you get more comfortable. When you're more comfortable, you do more of it, and then more people see who you are, and they're like, "Oh wow, like I like what she's saying. I'm gonna follow along." Um, and it's just like a virtuous cycle. I have people um, calling me up for like those discovery calls. They're wanting to find out if we're a good fit. I'm like, how did you find me? And they're like, I'm not really sure. I think I just came across an Instagram reel of yours, and you're talking about toy rotations, and I just liked hearing about the rationale, like the thought process behind what you're sharing, because I don't really see the thought process behind how other spaces are designed. I'm like, oh, interesting. So, once you do more, then you get the positive feedback loop. And then that just makes everything just easier and easier and easier. And then when you're sharing who you are in an authentic way, then you're attracting the right clients to you too. Because if you're trying to do what everyone else is doing because you think that's what you're supposed to do, and that's not who you are or what you care about, you're going to be attracting the wrong clients. It's kind of like online dating. You can't be pretending to be someone else. You just need to be who you are, so that they can find you, right? So that's my biggest one. It's been a huge one for me because it took me so long to get comfortable showing up on social media.
You hit the nail on the head. Be authentic. You're going to attract the people that are like you, and then you're going to enjoy your job because you're working with people that are like you, as opposed to attracting the wrong crowd and trying to keep them happy in a way that doesn't feel right. So I agree with that. Thank you so much for coming on today and sharing
Thanks,
about
Eddie.
building your business. If people wanted to reach out because they had more questions or they wanted to connect with you, what is the best way for them to reach out to you?
Definitely my Instagram, where you can link. You'll see the links to my website and everything, and you can DM me. My inbox is always open. I'm at Chez Shay Designs, so that's CHEZ. That's French for house of, and then my last name is Shay, so it's a play on words. Chez Shay, SHAY Designs. And I share tips, I share design inspo, I apparently share my thought process on why things are a certain way. And if you think you would find that interesting, I would love to connect with you on Instagram.
Everyone, you have to give her a follow because her Instagram is awesome and you are going to learn so much. And I want to leave everyone with a quote like always. And today's quote is, "You are what you do, not what you'll say you'll do." So Sophie, thanks for coming on. Yeah. And everyone have a fabulous day.
Thank you for joining this episode of Badass Mother Hustler. If you loved this episode as much as we did, and it left you feeling inspired and empowered, give us a quick like and subscribe, and we'll invite you back to our next episode. And be sure to share us on your socials and visit our Instagram, Badass Mother Hustler Podcast. We'll see you next time.